Mock draft season is here on Seattle Seahawks today. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. Coming up on today's show, we are going to give you our first 3-round mock draft. We will go over each pick for Seattle in the first, second, and third round and tell you who we think could end up with your Seattle Seahawks in 2025. We'll explain more coming up in just a bit. Before we go any further in today's show, though, folks, who's on your draft board? No wrong answers here. Name me a player you want the Seahawks to draft. I don't care if it's a first-round pick or a seventh-round pick. Just give me a player you want to see Seattle draft this April. Weigh in the chat. Let us know. We'll get started with today's show. So let's explain how this works before we get to our mock draft today, folks. So I went to my computer, and I went to the Pro Football Focus simulator, and I adjusted the settings, and I made every pick for Seattle from rounds 1 to 3. No trades involved in this draft today. All right? PFF did all the picks for everybody else, and then I made the picks for Seattle. So now you know how this works. Let's kind of set the scene for you of how the offseason looks like for Seattle right now. Mike Macdonald entering his second season as the Hawks head coach. According to overthecap.com, Seattle has about $15.17 million in cap space. Other people have different numbers, but that's at least the number Over the Cap is projecting for Seattle right now. Coming off a 10-7 season in Mike Macdonald's first year, and there's a lot of needs for this Seahawks team. The offensive tackle spot has some big question marks outside of Charles Cross. The interior of the offensive line at both guard positions and the center spot. You need some more pass rushers at the edge. Corner is a big need. Linebacker, we don't know right now if Ernest Jones is coming back or not. We hope he is, but we don't know that just yet. The quarterback position, that's a whole nother story. Is Geno going to be around long term? What about Sam Howell potentially? You need to start planning for your future when you have a 34-year-old quarterback. The tight end spot, Noah Fant isn't that great. A.J. Barner's not going to be anything more than a number 2 tight end in this league. And then the wide receiver spot, Tyler Lockett, more than likely gone. Got to find a replacement for him as well. Seattle's draft picks include the number 18th overall selection in the first round, the 50th overall pick in the second round, the 82nd overall pick in the third round, and the 136th pick in the fourth round. They have 4 other picks, which include the 5th round selection at 171, 6th round pick at 183, another 6th round pick at 210, and their final pick of the draft comes at 234. So, let's get started here. The last 5 picks prior to Seattle at 18, according to the PFF simulator. Josh Simmons, offensive tackle for the Ohio State, goes to the Dolphins at 13. Jalen Walker, the linebacker from Georgia, goes to the Colts at 14. Ibuka, the star wide receiver from Ohio State, goes to the Falcons at 15. Kelvin Banks Jr., the offensive tackle from Texas, goes to the Cardinals at 16. And then Tyler Warren from Penn State goes to the Bengals at 17. So, who is available for Seattle to select with the 18th overall pick? Here are the 5 best players available for Seattle with this pick. They include Benjamin Morrison, the corner from Notre Dame, Mikael Williams, the edge rusher from Georgia, Kenneth Grant, the defensive lineman from Michigan, Shamar Stewart, the edge rusher from Texas A&M, and Armand Membou, the offensive tackle / offensive guard from the University of Missouri. So, with that, the pick is in. Dun, 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 dun. With the 18th overall pick of the 2025 NFL Draft, the Seattle Seahawks select Missouri offensive tackle / offensive guard Armand Membou. There's the pick. Seattle fans rejoice. They get the offensive line help they were looking for, folks. A guy that can play multiple positions as well. Somebody that Some people think is a guard. Some people think is a tackle. He was a tackle at Mizzou. But if you're Seattle, if you're Mike Macdonald, you're excited because you're just thinking to yourself, I'm going to find a spot for him to play one way or the other as a day one starter immediately with this 18th overall pick. Let's get to know Armand a little further. He's been at Mizzou since 2022. He was the second-team All-SEC selection this past season. And Mel Kiper Jr. tends to think that he's more of an offensive guard at the next level. He has him as the number 6 offensive guard on his big board, transitioning over from the offensive tackle position he played at Mizzou. His numbers, according to Pro Football Focus this past season, were absolutely incredible. In 827 snaps, he had an offensive grade of 90.5, a pass block grade of 85.4, and a run block grade of 88.0. He could do it all, folks. In the scouting report, you're going to like what we have to say about him as well. He's got a thick build. Not T-H-I-C-C. No, the other kind of thick. T-H-I-C-K. He's explosive at the point of attack. A mover that's dense. He excels in widening out, taking up space. He has an imposing demeanor. I would not want to run into this guy in an alley. Let's put it that way. His big weakness, though, he can be a little tardy when it comes to strike times. He responds a little too slow when he needs to make a move on an incoming pass rusher. But other than that, everything looks pretty promising for what he could potentially bring to the National Football League. So, what do you think? Should the Seahawks draft Armand Membou? Weigh in on our comment today. Type Y for yes, in for no. Let us know what you think. Today's show is sponsored by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the place to go for daily fantasy made easy. Here's how it works. You choose 2 more players on any given category. Get the choice of more or less, whether you're talking fantasy points in football, rebounds in basketball, goals in hockey, all sorts of different categories to choose from. And Prize Picks has got a great deal they're offering right now. They will give you $50 to play for free. When you play $5, you don't even have to win the money. And right now in Prize Picks, folks, you can win up to 1,000 times your money at prizepicks.com/CLNS. I'm looking ahead to some pro football playoff action this weekend. Going with Patrick Mahomes to have more than 250.5 passing yards. Going with Isaiah Pacheco to have more than 42.5 rushing yards. And Joe Mixon to have less than 60.5 rushing yards. If I put $20 down and all 3 of those hit, that turns into $100 on Prize Picks. Play along with us, prizepicks.com/CLNS, promo code CLNS. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. Prize Picks, proud partner of Seattle Seahawks today. Glad to have him on board here on today's show. All right, let's skip ahead to the second round now. The Seahawks back on the clock at 50th overall, and there's still a lot of good talent on the board, which includes Cam Scatterbo, the running back from Arizona State, Gunnar Helm, the tight end from Texas, Jaden Higgins, the wide receiver from Iowa State, Cameron Williams, the offensive tackle from Texas, and Dylan Sampson, running back from Tennessee. So, who will be the 50th pick? The pick is in for the Seattle Seahawks. Dun, 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 dun. With the 50th overall pick of the 2025 NFL Draft, the Seattle Seahawks select Texas offensive tackle Cameron Williams. Let's tell you more about Cameron Williams here, folks. A Joe Moore Award semifinalist in 2023. Mel Kiper has him as the number 7 offensive tackle on his big board. And this is a big dude. I mean, this guy, he's eating pizza. He's eating steak. He's eating hamburgers. He's eating pasta. Big Tex tells me he probably needs to cut a few LBs, but nonetheless, the Seattle training staff should get him in some pretty decent shape there. His grades, according to PFF, were not bad, but they weren't great necessarily this past year at UT, with an offensive grade of 67.4, a pass block grade of 72.6, and a run block grade of 70.8. What exactly does he bring to the table? Let's go over his scouting report. He's got long arms, folks. I mean, they just go like this. They would probably extend out way beyond this screen, folks. He can certainly reach out. He is rugged, and he's got a powerful build. He looks the part. He's a space closer. That defender tries to make a move, boom, he's there. He's on it. He's got knockdown power, all right? No one is going to question this guy's athleticism and the strength that he brings to the table. His one drawback, he does have some mediocre range, though, as far as that goes. So, we're 2 picks in now. What do you guys think about Cameron Williams? Should Seattle draft Cameron Williams if he's available there in the second round, just like how this played out in this PFF mock draft? Weigh in, let us know. Type D for draft, type P for pass. Big Tex, he's spamming D for draft. If you agree with Big Tex and me, type D for draft, weigh in and let us know. Folks, this is only the beginning of our draft coverage here on Seahawks Today. There will be plenty of more mock drafts in the future. We'll do a 7-round mock draft here pretty soon. We're going to continue to bring you our daily news and rumors, our live shows twice a week, breaking news, Q&A mailbags. Your one-stop shop for all things Seattle Seahawks all off-season long is right here on Seattle Seahawks Today. Subscribe now for free, youtube.com/Seahawks TV. Let's move ahead to round number 3 now, the 82nd overall pick for Seattle. Here are the best players available. They include Jeffrey Bassa, the linebacker from the University of Oregon, Nick Imanwari, the safety from South Carolina, Derrick Harmon, defensive lineman from Oregon, Devin Neal, running back from Kansas. Oh, I know we don't necessarily need running back, but I love Devin Neal. You guys know I'm a Kansas guy. I called Devin Neal's games in high school. I gave him the nickname Real Deal Devin Neal, and I think he's trademarked that now. Everybody calls him that now. I would love Devin Neal, but we don't necessarily need him. And then Trey Harris, the wide receiver from the University of Mississippi as well on this list. So, who is going to be the pick? The pick is in for Seattle with the 82nd overall pick of the 2025 NFL Draft in round number 3. The Seattle Seahawks select Derrick Harmon out of the University of Oregon. Tremendous value with this pick, folks. I was shocked to see Harmon available here in round number 3. Some people, like Mel Kiper, think he's a first-round talent in this draft, but PFF had him available in the 3rd round. I cannot pass up the opportunity to bring in Derrick Harmon. Played this past season for the Oregon Ducks. Prior to that, he was with the Michigan State Spartans, a second-team All-Big Ten selection. I thought he personally got snubbed from the first-team All-Big Ten team and potentially being an All-American. Mel has him as the number 18 overall player in this year's draft and the number 3 defensive tackle. And you think about the defensive line for Seattle. You brought in Byron Murphy. You got Leonard Williams on a long-term contract. But then beyond that, you got some major question marks. How much longer is Jaron Reed going to be there? You certainly don't want Jonathan Hankins back. You need some reinforcements. Derrick Harmon could potentially be that. Harmon this past year, a very good year with the number 1 team in the land, the Oregon Ducks, who lost in the Rose Bowl to Ohio State. He had 5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 11 TFLs, and 45 tackles. He was a man among boys. What's the scouting report on Derrick Harmon? Let's tell you about him. He's got a thick build with long arms, an impressive upper body. All right? I mean, it's so impressive that Sidney Sweeney would even be impressed. He's aggressive as the pick player. He's got solid arm over moves. But his drawback, he lacks gap discipline at times in the run. So that's going to need some coaching to get his attention there as far as that goes. So to recap, mock draft 1.0 of our first 3 selections. We went with Armand Membou with our first selection in the first round, the offensive lineman from Mizzou. Our second round pick, we went with Cameron Williams, the offensive tackle from the University of Texas. And in the third round, we got help on the defensive line with Derrick Harmon out of the University of Oregon. So, how did I do, folks? I think I did a pretty bang-up job, if you ask me. Grade it, A, B, C, D, or F. Anything less than an A, you are a certified hater. Get those A's. I know I did well. Grade how I did on my first mock draft of the year for Seattle. In the comment section, let us know. For continuing Seahawks coverage, follow me on X, @TylerJonesLive. Appreciate y'all joining us. We'll see you next time.